we're going to talk about the Ori Ori no Mi. And just don't mind the mess back there. So the Ori Ori no Mi is owned by Hina. Hina is the one that showed up during Alabasta, and she was the one who captured Don Clay and put him in the prison, impelled down. So basically the Ori Ori no Mi is in English called the cage fruit. So basically you can go like bam, or you can punch someone and your hand would just go around, it would turn into a cage and it would just clamp them, like clamp them on the body or something like that. Oh, okay. So we saw Hina use Ori Ori no Mi two ways in the series, right? So the first way we saw her was that she let it was during the Baroque Wars, and she was punching someone, but she didn't really punch them like this. She more punched them with her forearm and like triceps, right? She punched them this way, like she was gonna give them a bear hug, and her arms went in and just like they went flying, and the person was clamped with like whatever you call it, a cage around them, right? And the second way we saw her was during Marineford. So she basically went and a bunch of cages went flying from her hands, and she slowly closed down on Luffy, right? And bam! And unfortunately Luffy, she wasn't able to catch him because he just gear-sucking to bam right out of there, right? But she clamped them, and we saw her teammates were there. She clamped her teammates, and her teammates got stuck in her cage. So based on that, I think that basically anyone who touches her cage gets clamped or like caged up, tightened up, and they can't move. Now, to the extent of this, I don't really know. Could it block Kaido, for example? I don't think so, right? I think Kaido would just be able to just, you know, go out and break the metal that is holding her. But I still think it will be fairly capable of hurting people, right? For example, definitely we know everyone up to, let's say, like Robin and the Bahat crew, they probably couldn't break up. Luffy, Sanji, and Zoro, they probably could break out, but I'm not sure about Robin, Nami, and Usopp. Some of the other, like the Candyman from, I forgot his name, from Big Mom, or the sloppy man that, you know, let Luffy go. I don't think he could break free of the cage. Okay, so we don't know the weaknesses of this, but I'm just gonna theorize. So the first thing I'm gonna theorize is potential weaknesses. First weakness, I believe, is if the user that she clamps uses a Logia fruit or a special paramecia, right? Or something that allows the user to change his body shape. For example, the insect fruit, right? That the members, the little tiny people use, right? They're able to transform to a bee. So what will happen is Hina will clamp them, and then let's take for example Smoker, her friend. Hina will clamp them, and Smoker will just turn into smoke and just fly away, right? I think that's one weakness that she might have to watch out for, because if the person she clamps really is not tangible, like Smoker, Crocodile, Katakuri, really anyone Logia, any Logia or special paramecia, they can just flow away. The second one that she might have to worry about is Zoans, right? For example, let's say Chopper. Chopper is in this beast form, and she goes up and hits him like that. She clamps him, and Chopper is on the ground. He's just stuck in her clamp. Well, what stops Chopper from just going into small mode, right? Or going back to his original reindeer form? What stops him? If that happens, won't he just be free? It's kind of like handcuffs, right? They're handcuffed, but only to your body. if I was a handcuff like this, you know, my hands became smaller, I would just be able to slide right out of the cage. She's gonna have to watch out for Logias and Zoans, or special paramecias like category. So let's talk about her Devilfruit and Hockey. Her Devilfruit and Hockey. I think if she can learn Hockey, I don't know whether she knows it right now, because she's a rear admiral, not a vice captain. Right? She doesn't. I don't think she knows how to use Hockey yet. But once she knows how to use Hockey, that will completely stop her first weakness, the Logia one, because she can just clamp that person and just stay there, because they can't move because they're Hockey-ified. And then she'll be able to turn her cage into Hockey, and that will be just really powerful, because she can just smack her opponent with Hockey. She can clamp her opponent with Hockey, and it will be harder for the opponent to escape too, because it's just Hockey-fied, right? Hockey makes everything stronger. There's no case where a person shouldn't learn Hockey, I believe, in the One Piece world. So, if she'll just learn Hockey, that will get rid of her weakness. So, the next thing we're going to talk about is potential techniques. Now, I believe that almost all Devilfruits, alright, not all, but almost all Devilfruits can be powerful if used correctly. And I think hers can be much more powerful too, but she's going to need to do some training. So the first idea I think she's going to have is electricity, right? So her cages are most likely made out of metals. So, metals, right? And we know that metals transfer electricity very well. They're a good conductor of it, and if they touch something else, it'll just flow right into the other material. And humans are also very good conductors of electricity, since we mostly have water in our bodies, right? So I think she will use electricity in her next technique. So this technique would be like, she would have to go to Vegapunk, and she would get a special device that she clips onto her back. She clips onto her back, and then it flows electricity to her. I think she would be fine since she's metal. I'm pretty sure she will be fine. So it flows electricity through her body, and then she's now metal rod. And then she goes in for the punch. She clamps her enemies, and her enemies are clamped, but the electricity flows across from her body, across the cage she puts out, and onto the person that she clamps, thus electrocuting them. Kind of like what an L does, but on a weaker scale, but it still electrifies them. But the problem with this is that she would have to go to Vegapunk. She would have to go to Vegapunk to get the electric charge. I think Vegapunk would easily, I'm not sure whether he has figured out about electricity or not, but I think he would easily be able to create this device. First of all, I mean, the man put Devilfruits in an object. He figured out how to put Devilfruits in objects, like Spondum's sword, the Element sword during the Water 7 arc. Vegapunk did that. Alright, so I think, you know, figuring out about electricity is an easy clapper for him, right? And also, Kuma. How do you think he powers Kuma? It might have been mentioned in the show, but I don't remember that if it was. I'm pretty sure he uses electricity to power Kuma, right? Kind of like the robots on the moon, right? He definitely uses electricity or something of that sort. Or, sorry, was it the light power? It might be the light power, but that's kind of the same kind of thing, right? So he'll be able to easily create this device that allows Hina to flow electricity through her body and onto her enemies. So she's gonna clamp, the enemy's gonna be clamped and shocked like that. Okay. So So the next technique she's gonna do is Luffy's, kind of like Luffy's pistol, right? Once she gets this electricity in her arm, I think she can just do this. She can load it back and just punch. And as we saw in Marineford, she could actually extend the cage past her body. So why can't she, what's stopping her from just extending it in one place, right? She can just go punch and the cage will just extend past her arm and onto the enemy and just, you know, like this is her, and she punches, she does a punch, and then this is the cage. It just goes down and it just punches onto the enemy. Just punches onto the enemy. What's stopping her from doing that, right? She can just punch the enemy and they'll cage the enemy too, and then it'll electrify them. So they're kind of taking triple damage. Like 1, punch, 2, clamp, 3, electrify, right? This could be very powerful. Okay, so the third technique I think she will use is the anaconda, what I'm calling it, the anaconda technique. So she will kind of do what she did to the Marineford officer. We could see that her cage can go off her body, because we saw that in Baroque works when she punched a random dude and her cage went beyond her body, right? She's gonna punch the dude and the cage is gonna go beyond her body, and then the man is just gonna be lying there with his cage on himself. And I think she'll be able to control the cage even after it leaves herself, right? And she will just keep tightening until the guy's just crushed. So it'll be kind of like on. Okay, so let's say here is the cage, right? She is just like clamped me. She's punched me. Pretend I'm the victim. I'm on the floor like this. I'm on the chair, right? And so far the cage is just resting here, right? It's allowing me to somewhat move my arms. I'm just stuck. Okay, my arms are behind here, but I can still like breathe. I can still talk. I can still do anything. But I think she'll be able to control the cage and just clamp it down, and just like my rib cage will start to crack. It'll just start to crack until it just meets together, and the person will be dead, obviously. I don't see what's stopping her from doing that either. So that's the anaconda plan that I think she will do. So there's one more technique. There's another technique. The last technique I want to talk about is the Iron Maid. So have you ever seen an Iron Maid? It's like kind of like a giant coffin, right? But it's iron and there's spikes inside. Just spikes inside. This so the Iron Maid, we saw Perospero in the Big Mom arc. Charlotte Perospero. We saw him do it. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. We saw him do it, the Iron Maid, with the candy. So the same thing Hina will do, right? She will clap him, and then the thing is, she will just elongate her cage. What? We don't know if she can elongate the cage she uses, right? She can just elongate one of the bars, so it's just on the other side, and it goes around the entire enemy. And then what she can do, if she can manipulate the shape of the rod, she can just put spikes inside. Put spikes, right? Inside, and the person is just trapped in this Iron Maid that she has. And then she will do the anaconda technique and just she'll keep closing it. So this is kind of an improvement on the anaconda technique, but this only works if she's able to manipulate the size and shape of her cages, which I think she'll be able to do, because you know, she just needs more practice with it. Most people who have Devilfruits can manipulate their items. So I think those are the main techniques, weaknesses, and what will happen once she uses hockey. Alright, so thanks for watching.